Today we are going to work on our G's Bend quilt, and we're going to add a drawing in the middle. We're going to color it. We're going to have the paper, and then I'm going to hole punch it after we finish this, and then the very last step will be doing some quilting around there. So this is what we're going to be working on today. We have these sheets that you're going to have a few at the table. You're going to get at least 8 strips of paper. I actually chose 4 colors, so I have 2 of each color. That's what I decided to do, but you can use different colors because you're the artist. You're going to get a really big paper and then a really small one, and this is going to be our focal point, okay? So the very first thing you're going to do on your paper is we're going to write your name, Mrs. K, and K dash, and your class code. Now, mine's a darker paper, and I can't see, you may not be able to see it really well from where you are, but I can definitely see it, and I can see the silver of the pencil. So you don't need to use anything else other than a pencil. Then we're going to turn that over. Then you're going to get this one, and this is where we're going to draw our focal point. So this can be anything that's important to you. This sheet has some different symbols that you may want to add, but you do not have to use these symbols, okay? So maybe I like the heart. So I'm gonna have a heart here, or I love that butterfly too. That's pretty cute, but I'm gonna do a heart. So I have my heart here. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I drew it with pencil first. Then I can add color, and we're gonna be using, these are construction paper crayons. I'm actually gonna choose this color. And the great thing about these is they show up so well. I love them. So they're gonna be really great so that this shows up, it's bold. The colors may not be the traditional colors you're used to, but they almost have like a milky color to them, which I think is interesting. So I drew a heart, I outlined it. I could color it in, I can use this, I can decide not to color it with that color. Maybe I want to color it in with this green, because why not? You don't have to use the expected colors when you're creating art. And the kind of nice thing is too, the paper's red. So I'm choosing a color that's opposite, like a cool tone, so it stands out. So I'm just coloring in with these, and it's going to stand out really nicely. So I can leave it as simple as that. I am actually going to add some stitches because we're going to be doing our sewing. So I'm going to make some stitch marks around the edge. So I'm going to make a little line, leave a space, little line, leave a space, little line, leave a space. It's like little dashes. So I'm going to pretend that's the outside, the color you see. I can turn my paper too. The outside color is the stitch going over. The part you can't see, the stitch is going under. And I'm going to do this all the way around the edge so it looks like a quilt. I could even do it to my heart to make it look like it's quilted on if I'd like, or leave it the way it is. So got my heart there. I'm going to try it, see if I like that. So I'm going to pretend like I quilted the second piece of fabric to the top of the bottom one. So this is sewn on. Okay, so I like the way that looks. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue it to the center of this big paper. So we have the glue, and in your class you may use glue sticks. I like this best, and it's just regular white Elmer's glue, and then this is our glue stick. It's like old-fashioned. So when I do it, I still see people scooping up globs of glue. You don't need a lot of glue. A little glue goes a long way. And I want you to notice that I'm now dripping. The glue is dripping in here. I always think of it like I'm a chip, and this is the queso or the cheese sauce, and I'm dripping it off, and then I may have to turn it a little bit so it doesn't drip all over the table, okay? Then on the back, I'm just gonna put this glue, kind of like scrape it around the edges. I don't even need it in the middle. And then when I'm finished with it, I like to set it on the lid. So I'm gonna set the lid off to the side. So when I set it down, I wanna try to find the center. So you kind of have to look at it and say, okay, I can get 2 hands there, 2 hands. Let's see if I turn it this way. Ooh, maybe I go a little bit down so I can get 2 hands. And then I'm gonna hold it right where the middle is. And if it's not exact, that's okay. We just wanna kind of get it in the middle-ish space. And when I moved it, you see that white glue there? I can kind of wipe it with my finger. I can leave it like that too, because this is gonna go on the drying rack, so I'm not worried about it sticking to anyone else's. So I'm holding it down, it's laying nice and flat. It seems like it's stuck really well. Then I'm gonna take my strips. So remember, I grabbed 8 strips, and I happen to grab 2 of each color. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of organize it. Maybe I want these 2 here, or these 2 there. Maybe that's too bright. Maybe I'm gonna have the pinks going this way and the oranges going this way. Or, ooh, that orange is so bright. Maybe I put the orange on the outside. So I can kind of decide how I want it to be. So I kind of like my order. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move these 2 to the top, these 2 to the bottom, these, let's see, the blue, it's going to be on the inside, so I'm going to move that off. So I'm going to start with these 2 sections here. Now we're going to eventually kind of quilt and sew around the edges. So I don't want to be too close. I'm about 2 fingers from the edge. I like that. I could go even 3 fingers and I'd be fine too, but I'm gonna think 2 should be enough. So remember, when I get the glue, I just need a little bit of glue, twist it around, and I'm not putting glue everywhere. I'm just going down the center, and then I'm gonna turn it over. So I'm gonna leave about 3 or 2 fingers. I'm gonna do 2 on mine. My hands are a little bit bigger than yours, so that works. And I'm gluing this whole piece down. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. In there, make sure it's not dripping, and then just down the center. I just want a line of glue down the center. And I want it to be balanced. That's what my design is gonna be on both sides. So I'm using my fingers to help measure, nothing fancy. It's a tool that I have attached to me at all the time. And then I'm gonna hold it down. Now I'm gonna decide what I wanna do in this outside. So I kinda like the green, and I also, actually I'm gonna do the pink. So now I'm gonna go here and do the inside. So I am going to layer these on top, okay? So I can put it on top. If I think it's too long and I want it to be in the center, I can cut this piece if I wanted to. But I'm gonna kind of layer mine and overlap a bit, because that's my choice as the artist. You may choose not to do that. And I'm gonna turn this over, set it there. I am gonna kind of try to follow that 2 fingers widths. And look, there's a little gap here at the corners. That's fine. That is fine. I am totally fine with that. And then I'm gonna go to the next one. Put that like right there. And then set this one down and hold it, okay? So I'm hoping we get all 8 of these on. If we get to just the 4, I'm gonna be okay with that, but I'm hoping on getting to the 8. Now I'm going to the next one, and I could technically leave it like this, but I'm gonna start trimming it. So what I'm gonna look at, I'm gonna look at the edge here, and I'm going to draw a little line here. And then this is where I'm gonna take my scissors, and on the line, I'm gonna cut it. And I'm gonna save this piece. You'll notice I am not one to throw away paper. I may not use it with this project, but I'm gonna put it in a special spot and use it another time. So I made a little mark like I did last time, and then cut that and save, okay? Then I'm gonna put the glue on, let it drip, and for time purposes, and if somebody's waiting, I could even just one dip did 2, and that will save me time so I don't have to wait for someone to use theirs. So I'm gonna put that there. I'm going to stick this right over here, hold it down, okay? Then I'm on my last 2. So I could choose to go overlapping like I did before, going on the inside, and the inside, what do I wanna do? I'm gonna do what I did before and kind of overlap it. That's what I like. So I'm gonna draw a little line, do the same thing down below, draw a little line, and so I know to cut it. And also, the nice thing is, these pieces, maybe somebody in another class, or maybe in your class wants to use those. So that's why they're perfectly good, and we don't wanna waste them. And then I'm gonna once again add my glue, not too much glue, and put enough glue in the middle so I have enough to stick, but not too much that it's gonna be a big glob that kind of makes a mess. Okay, now that's kind of overlapping, so I'm gonna actually raise that a little bit more because when I put that original one down, I was a little off, and that's okay. It's quilting, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm hoping we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of our strips glued down to our paper, and then this is going to go on the drying rack. If you're the last one to use the glue, we scrape it like this, and then we're going to put the lid on, and we'll be around to help you out. These little pieces we're going to put in a special spot so they're safe, and then we'll clean everything else up at our table.